Thanks for watching our show. We appreciate it, especially watching us here locally, Comcast 7, only in Bethel Park. Great to talk to some of you watching us on Comcast 7, and then the rest of you are watching us on Verizon 32, all the way from Nemacolin, the Cranberry, Wexford, and all the points in the greater Pittsburgh area. Keep hearing from the city of Pittsburgh, and friends of ours that have been on the show tell me that they're watching us, so appreciate that stuff. And some people are telling me we're on at midnight and some hours like that because they're watching it with their husband and because they're a sports nut, so appreciate it. I'm Al Levine, the talking machine. Chip Hayner's right next to me. Smoking Jim Frazier was here on time. He's eyeing up, we got that Olive Oil's Pizzeria. I'll put that up here. Olive Oil's Pizzeria, right at Hillcrest Shopping Center, 412-831-1900. Great pizza, great hoagie. All their stuff's good. I was waiting for our pizza and hoagie, and a lady walked in with a couple kids and her sister. They only had 5 pizzas they ordered. Wow. They said, we're going to be eating some pizza in the car.
Wow.
So people were enjoying it. It was great. Devin, you dropped something on the floor.
Dropped some large.
Wow.
So that'll happen there.
That'll get you some
Here,
pizza.
Smoking Jim.
Thank you, sir.
Nice to see you there. We start our show with our first segment of What's on Your Mind, and we're going to do that right now. Smoking Jim Frazier, what is on your mind?
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And if you want the green, ooh, you got to see Levine.
One-handed.
They're going to take my hand.
Beckham Frazier.
They're going to take my hand off my money roll.
OBJ.
But first of all, shout out to Pastor Robin Allen, friend of the show.
I got a shout out to Robin Allen. I got a hug from her, one of our biggest fans. She's such a busy woman raising a family. She's a minister of her church. Smoking Jim did a resume for her that was like 22 pages. I got a hug from her. She'll have to watch the show. She still enjoys watching the show and listening to Smoking Jim laugh a little bit. And she loves his smile.
Well, it looks like she's odds-on favorite to get a pastoral position. The head of church.
Nobody told me. I assumed that.
Virginia, but hopefully I got the resume done in time. It's due tomorrow. She asked me to do it about a month ago, and so I worked on it last night.
I don't even care. I don't care how long it took you. I got to see Robin, so it was a pleasure seeing her. I haven't seen her.
She didn't get a chance to proofread it or nothing. I just handed it to her, and I'm sure she'll FedEx it over. But anyhow, what's on my mind is...
well, that was a good thing on your mind.
That's a good thing, man. She look good, too, don't she?
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm going over for dinner one day, so... Supposed to eat dinner today, but I was running late over there. But
what a surprise!
we saved him a little nod.
Yeah.
Well, what's on my mind? I have a question for you guys concerning Little Black History Month, because you guys know more about black people than anybody that I know. Joey Porter, attorney, is Robert Del Greco.
I don't even want to hear about this because I know Robert Del Greco.
Dude, I don't know him.
Yeah, I know him. He's a very good attorney, and whatever he's done, Joey deserved much more.
Okay, because the question is, for Black history, is why does the majority of black people don't have black attorneys or black doctors or black agents? Any question? Maybe Devin Shea can text that answer.
Sure, I'll give a little history.
I believe that was a rhetorical question. It doesn't require a response.
As again, my friend brings up race.
Well, I have a black doctor on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday he works at the post office. But anyhow, the Pittsburgh
Sportsline. I have a question.
Pittsburgh Sportsline.
What's he a doctor of? Is he like Granny on the Clampets?
His price is right. The Pittsburgh Sportsline.
What, he just looks at you. And what sport are we talking about?
We're talking about basketball.
I can't even keep track of this.
And the Pittsburgh Sportsline is actually a former guest to the show. Taylor Stewart, a forward, senior forward for Obama Lady Eagles.
She was just at Hollywood Lanes with us.
She was just in Hollywood Lane. She got in foul trouble. She set the bench most of the first half with 3 fouls.
Jeez.
But she came out in the second half, scored 19 points, grabbed 18 rebounds for her 7-peat. Not a 3-peat.
I know from middle school.
Not a 4-peat. There you go. She's won 7
But they did
championships
get the
in a row.
4-peat for high school.
For high school.
Obama Academy.
So is she going to be playing college ball at the University of Connecticut?
They would be great to get her, but I'm working on her.
Her nickname's Westbrook.
Yeah, Michael Westbrook. She's a Michael Westbrook of high school basketball, and I'm working on getting her into KLU. The only problem is she wants to be a dentist, an orthodontist, in dental school. In KLU, we specialize in general study majors.
Boy, is that disappointing. But congratulations to Monique McCoy.
McConnell Pitt has an excellent dental school.
Does it? Mm-hmm. Wow.
They have for years. Smoking, Jim, you got to get out of that little horizon that you have there.
Time to eat. And
congratulations to the coaches of Obama Academy. That's quite the feat that they've done. 4 in a row.
That's something.
And the kids from all the way in middle school.
And Monique McCoy looked good. Coach McCoy looked good.
I know you always emphasize her photos. She does look nice.
Couldn't take my eyes off of her.
Yeah, well, that's good. What about Dap Porter?
She's physical.
Dap.
Too. Oh, Dap. I thought you meant his daughter.
No.
Yeah, Dap. Yeah, I didn't pay too much attention to him.
Yeah, not surprised.
Thank you, Smoking Jim, and to
Still ball-headed.
To all our fans that listen to Smoking Jim and all the thousands of people he knows, he seems to remember the women there that are coaches. So try not to bite your finger on that pizza and hoagie. Enjoy. Chip Hayner, what's on your mind?
Thank you, Alan. And yes, congratulations are in order for the women's basketball team from the Obama Academy, winning their 4th championship, and also for the Taylor Alderdice boys team, who won the City League championship on Sunday. They're 4th in a row. So, Obama played Alderdice in the women's, and Obama played Alderdice in the men's. They split. They went 50-50. So there's a little bit of everything to go around for everybody.
And that's quite a different team this year compared to last year's team.
Last year's team was disappointing that they didn't win the state title. They had a great team, but time moves on. We seldom remember who came in second.
And congratulations to them.
Right? Like who came in second place last year in the NBA? You remember? Maybe, I don't. They didn't do anything of any significance.
Be nice. You guys had a good argument.
But Jim brought up a great question, and I would just like to offer just my humble opinion regarding, he brought up Robert Del Greco, and Robert Del Greco is a great criminal defense attorney, and
one of the best
and he happens to be the go-to guy that anybody on the Steelers needs to defend them. They go see Mr. Del Greco, and Mr. Del Greco usually gets it down to either dismissed or summary charge. But you've got this issue with Darrelle Revis. Now Darrelle Revis has, after he signed another huge contract with the Jets, spent 16 games of the regular season last year, proving beyond a doubt that he can't play cornerback anymore in the NFL. So, he gets into an altercation, and we're going to let the judicial system run with this and find out what really did happen. None of us know at this point, but he got Robert Del Greco to defend him. And the questions that were being asked on the radio today was, well, now that the Steelers guy is going to help Darrelle Revis get out, do you think this might mean the Steelers would be interested in picking up Darrelle Revis? And my advice to the Steelers would be, we don't need another cornerback that can't cover. So I would not touch him.
But that might be why they get him.
I just think it's
They're adding
$3
to
or $4 million to somebody whose best days are behind him. And, and if he can't cover, then his only other option would be to play safety. And, he didn't seem that he really was much inclined to want to tackle people last year either. So, cornerbacks, in the Steelers' defensive scheme, they got to tackle, they got to defend the pass, and if you can't do one or either of them, I just don't think that's the wise thing to do. Hearing great things out of the state of Florida, great things. The players are all there. Everybody's getting ready to prepare themselves for the 2017 season. April the 3rd, it's a Monday, Fenway Park. The Pirates open up the season playing the Boston Red Sox.
That's tough.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I would love to be able to go there. I've never seen a game in Fenway. It's on my bucket list. And
You can take Smoking Jim up there.
I know, but the thing is,
He wouldn't stay that long.
I'm not going to take him 700 miles so he can stay for 3 innings.
He might be less than that right now.
But no, I'm really excited for what the Pirates are going to, the team that they're going to field this year. There's a lot of question marks surrounding the pitching rotation.
Oh, yeah.
And I believe that that's a good thing, not a bad. Because what happened last year, people criticized Neil Huntington, and yes, he did make some bad moves. He made a couple of bad trades, did some things during the season that the fans may not have really fully understood, but they certainly didn't like. But, last year was supposed to have been a transition year for the Pirates pitching staff because a lot of the young pitchers that they had been developing in the minors, they were set to bring those up so they could end up becoming contributors this year. Well, because of the way things fell last year, a lot of these guys got thrown into the major leagues sooner than they would have liked them to. But I believe that that's going to be a positive and not a negative because now there's not going to be as much intimidation as coming up into the major leagues. There's going to be less uncertainty. These pitchers are going to know how to prepare themselves to pitch in a 162-game season. So even though there are a lot of question marks regarding the pitching staff, I think the future looks bright for the Pirates. I think the outfield is going to come back with a resounding crash this year. They're gonna blow up big. McCutcheon's going to prove to everybody again why he's one of the top 5 players in baseball. Gregory Polanco is going to play a good left field, and Starling Marte is going to show why he belongs in center field. So, as far as the Pirates go, nothing but upside that I see, and I can't wait till April 3rd.
Very good, Chip. I expected more from you. You gave it out there pretty good. Because this is our hopeful time of the year. Definitely.
The thing is,
and they're practicing and they're playing. And we're getting good
reports.
But
here's the thing, they start playing games on Saturday. Okay, preseason games, spring training games mean absolutely nothing because what you do up until April 3rd, you start the season out 0 for 0. Okay, everybody's got a batting average of 0-0-0. So don't get too worked up about what you see and what you don't see in the spring. What matters? From April 3rd till the 3rd of October.
I'm glad you're pointing to Smoking Jim Frazier, our baseball expert who's not.
Yeah, I just didn't know transitional.
I can't wait to hear his comments here.
I just didn't know transitional meant that they was expected to go to the World Series last year and failed. I didn't know it was meant about the pitching staff.
Well, last year, Jim, They tried. No, wait, no.
Where's
that dictionary of yours so I can find out that definition?
Here's what you need to understand. They tried some things last year that were stopgap measures to fill a void that they knew that they were going to have, and it didn't work out the way they had hoped it would. They thought they could work their magic on Jonathan Neese, who turned out to be nothing less than a bum. Francisco Liriano lost command of his fastball and walked every batter that he faced almost last year. Garrett Cole was hurt the entire season. The wheels fell off the bus last year.
Transitional is in here.
You didn't even look. It's not in this Funkin' Wagnalls. I checked. But so much for Smoking Jim Frazier and his excuses about baseball. He has a litany of them. And we're not going to go into that right now. You're allowed to be hopeful. This is spring training.
Did you say litany or jitney?
He made it here on however he got here, but it's a litany. It's a plethora of reasons that he puts out there. And they're all excuses, as he would tell us. So, thanks, Chip. I appreciate it. And we'll stay hopeful.
Always.
And go Buccos. With Joey Favis, I always promote Stay Joey Strong at the end. This is Joey Favis with DIPG. That's a form of brain cancer. It took him before his 9th birthday. His birthday's on Wednesday, tomorrow. He would have been 10 years old, so it's a shock there. The family's celebrating up at, forget what restaurant they're going to. I think Olive Garden. They go up there, and some of the proceeds go towards the Joey Favis Childhood Cancer Foundation, so check it out. I was at the Bethel Park Historical Society Schoolhouse Arts and History Center. They're also a nonprofit. They're doing a lot of great things. There's a trolley up there that they fixed up. They're putting windows and all kind of things. I have a little bit of information inside. I can show you this. It's a big house on the hill. Check it out. Go to their website, the Bethel Park Historical Society. You can donate as little as $1. Help them out. Bill will appreciate it. He's a great guy in charge of it. What a wealth of information he is. Then we got our Bethel Park Community Foundation. I keep talking about that every week. There's funds for your group to help the kids and the organizations that you have. And you can get from $100 to $5,000. So go get the list of things and check out the site, bpcf.org. Check it out. And I'm proud to be part of that organization. We give a lot of money to the local community to help Bethel Park and the families here to thrive in this community. So it's a pleasure. What's on my mind is actually Robert Del Greco.
Wow.
I know him and his family from Baldwin. His dad played for the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Really?
Bobby Del Greco. I forget what position he played. I met him. He was quite a character down at work. He was a Teamster. Worked many years with him. And Robert Del Greco, when I saw there mention Le'Veon Bell and Joey Porter, he got everything reduced. I mean, he's the go-to lawyer, as Chip was saying, that they were talking about on radio today and TV. He's had high-profile cases that are outside of sports. Does a lot of great things in the community. Mm-hmm. Has a couple kids that play sports, and just an all-around good guy who's a local lawyer doing well.
Wow.
And gets a lot of people out of trouble. Of course, they have to pay him to do that. So there's no free lunches there. And, it's just interesting. So many people, people, Chip knows people from seeing people. Smoking Jim, they know him. He doesn't know them. Thousands are out there. So, and it's amazing when somebody that hits the news like that and is as famous as they are.
Wow.
So shout out to Robert Del Greco and all the things he does in the community for Steelers and other people. Everyday people go to see him. So just has a great career as a lawyer. So good luck to him. And as far as Joey Porter, he should be fired as a coach. He didn't really add anything except the sideline shenanigans, which weren't that good, crawling around on his knees.
Well, there was also reports of an incident with him at the, where was it, Riverview, North Allegheny football game.
Yeah.
And there was some type of an incident that the details are a little hazy on. But
Even with
somehow
Tomlin.
the police were called in, but I guess there was no
Even
record
Coach
of that.
Tomlin was involved in some of that. So there's a lot of things out there in the public. They didn't like the way things were going, and it just happens that way. So there's differing opinions on a lot of this stuff. To me, it's just effluvia. I'd rather not even listen to it or deal with it. It's a shame, and Porter should be gone. He shouldn't be coaching anymore. If he watches this, we don't need him. He didn't add anything. Jarvis Jones, he said, would get double-digit sacks. He's basically off the team. So.
Well, he said he was going to get that this year, and he didn't get that in his career.
That was one of those mistakes that my man Smoking Jim Frazier, he's an entertainer.
He called it
he
on.
He is an entertainer about
He called
this
it on
stuff.
draft day 4 years ago.
He called him too slow Jones, and he goes, some of these SEC superstars don't really pan out in the NFL. He couldn't have been any more right than he was.
Almost like Heisman Trophy winning quarterbacks, how they fare in the NFL. Not so well.
Smoking Jim studies that stuff. He doesn't want to get into that right now because he's getting his draft picks ready. The draft will be coming up. He's digging deep. He's watching all the film as he does. A couple films a day. So keep working, Smoking Jim.
Thank you, sir.
And that's what's on my mind. We're going to go. We have the software to go to a commercial break. We're going to come back to our 3 segments of Fiction and Fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac. I think they're calling the one Chips Trivia, or
Penguins are up 1-0.
yeah, well, that'll be later on. We got a segment there for Penguins. We'll come back, but we got On Location also, so we'll have those coming up very shortly. Chief, now is time to go get your dessert and get relaxed in front of the TV screen. Appreciate all of you watching our show and giving the great feedback, and of course liking us. We did hit on Facebook 6,412.
It's a good number.
New all-time high. Appreciate the likes and watching our shows.
Took a picture of me from the day.
All right, we got it here. Thanks for coming back. Not changing that dial. Hope you enjoyed the commercials. We have Fiction and Fact with Smoking Jim's Almanac. What do you got?
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. I tell you what, I did some research. I went back
Last week.
20 to 30 years on my research. Wow. And
Did they even have computers back then?
Yeah, and,
No.
I'm concluding that based on my 30 years of research, going back 30 years.
In 1 hour.
Yeah.
Okay, so now-
I'm going to say that
What is this about?
the triple overtime victory from Alderdice was the first triple overtime win in City League championship history, and I'm confident in my 30 years of research that never happened.
How many people witnessed it? How many
Yeah,
witnessed
they
it?
won 71-70, didn't they?
71-70, and I tell you what, Al Levine, the talking machine. It was a late arriving crowd. Let's put it that way. It was a Sunday afternoon at Peterson Event Center, and for some reason the scoreboard wasn't on. Must have gave the scorekeeper
Were you in
the
charge
day
of
off.
that again?
Huh?
Were you in charge of that scoreboard
No, I
again?
wasn't, but it would have been nice to see the highlights. I'm sure it'll be on for the WPIL games in 2 weeks when they play their championship there. But I tell you what, you talk about buddy ball. Buddy
Plays a different type of game this year. He got the smaller kids.
This is a guy who no one gave them a chance to win. They graduated everybody, a great team. This was supposed to be the revenge for the City League other teams Buddy didn't try to run the score up. Last year they beat Central Catholic by 50 points. But they
The
were
talent they had. The Jackson brothers.
the talent they had, and a lot of the talent was there because they're not in school. But
Who's not in school?
some of the talent that was on the team last
They're
year.
gone.
Yeah, well,
They graduated.
they've been home all year.
They graduated.
Homeschooling.
Yeah. So, but you know what? It was a great game. The first half was terrible. 8-6 at the end of the first quarter. 18.
Well, they play a
17, 16
They
at
play a
halftime.
different kind of basketball. It's more on possession and getting in front of kids and getting a lot of fouls and shooting foul shots. And,
Well, it was some of that.
Seriously, you got to give us some in-depth on it. I read a couple articles that were written about them by some of your other newspapers.
Yeah, it was.
He plays a different ball. It's
It
like
was-
a small ball.
Yeah, it was sloppy basketball, especially with Obama. Who had the height advantage. They had more talent. But I picked out early on, and he didn't get MVP, but he got my vote for MVP. There's a white guy for Alderdice that wears
Jeez.
that wears, he led all scorers with 22 points, but he wears 2 knee pads. And that's it early on. Anybody that wears the double knee pads, man. And they could not stop him from the 3-point line. But of course, when the voting came out, he come in second. He come runner up for the MVP. They found a way not to give it to him, which I predicted on air that they'd find a way to screw him out of
I can't wait
MVP.
to hear that broadcast.
Yeah. So, but a young point guard ended up winning the MVP. He was outstanding. I don't know, some African name. And he transferred from Westinghouse. Jaheed.
I'm noticing negativity from you on this.
Bono or something like that. His dad Zeke. His dad Zeke from Cleveland. From Cleveland went to I think he went to high school at John Hayes High School with Charles Oakley, the Big Oak. And so I didn't know if somebody was going to get escorted out. Because there were some upset people, man, when it went in the overhand time. The referees, I tell you what, man, they were taking a lot of heat. Triple overtime, and really, I thought it was going to go into 4 overtimes, but Alderdice didn't win the game. Obama lost the game. Alderdice Obama could have scored 2 points anytime they wanted to. In the patience of Job, there was many times where Alderdice goes up by 4 points or 3 points, and Obama comes down and they take it inside for 2. They were confident that they could get down there. Yeah, I mean, they really didn't have any 3-point shooters, all brothers on the team. And
so it was a different Taylor Alderdice team, scrappier.
Well, it was a team that listened to the coach. That's one. Buddy did a great job of coaching. No way that team should have won anything. They had no height. They had no jumpers, no leapers.
What was their center was what, 6'4", 6'3", or 6'4"?
Well, he might have been, but he couldn't jump. They had one guy, their tallest guy missed a dunk. He didn't score a point. He ended up fouling out. Brother, I mean, he had a wide open dunk, man, and that rim beat him to death. Running that rim, and they didn't try no more of that.
Smoking Jim, this report is like remarkable.
But Obama had, they're young. And
well, this is high school.
Yeah, high school. And they had some leapers. They could get inside. They got all the rebounds. But Buddy found a way. Seemed like every 5 points that they got in the first half, he called a timeout. Now, it took them a while to get 5 points. But Buddy did a great job.
In the one quarter, they had 6.
Yeah. But that's what's on my mind. Fiction and fact. A historical day in the history of City League high school basketball, and I went back a good 30 years. I got a good sample size of that. They have never had triple overtime in a championship game, and I feel confident in my research.
I'm glad you were an eyewitness of that and gave us the blow-by-blow, the player-by-player, the knee pads, jumping an inch off the ground, whatever else it took. And our man, Coach Buddy, congratulations to him and Taylor Alderdice. That's 2 in a row.
4.
Four. That's 4 in a row. Yes, that's why I mentioned it earlier. Obama women have won 4 in a row, and Alderdice boys have won 4 in a row. Good karma. We got to get them back on the show.
I know. That's up to you, Smoking
Buddy
Jim.
ball.
I was counting.
Now that has to speak to the quality of the coaching job he did.
Yeah.
He had a stacked team last year, and then to come back this year and win a championship when nobody saw it coming.
Well, the nice thing is Smoking Jim didn't give him and his boys a chance, where the previous 3 years he said they're taking it all.
Yeah.
So Smoking Jim was able to predict that, but not this one. Congrats. Thanks for the information, Smoking Jim.
You're welcome, sir.
Glad you shared it with us, and we got it out there to the public. Now you can work on those guests. All right, we'll go to our segment. It may flash up with a feature of Chip Hayner's Trivia Pursuit, I think we're calling it.
Trivial Pursuit, yep.
I like that.
Yeah, so we'll get some, instead of useless information, we got information coming out everywhere from Chip Hayner. Stay tuned. I don't know if they'll put that up from the control room, if they can do that. I know I shouldn't be telling you this, but we're trying to communicate with the control room. All right. I got the signal from Devin Shea, luckily.
Okay. Good evening, everybody, and thank you. I'm trying to, I was racking my brain this afternoon. It's been a busy few days. My professional life, I'm getting busy to start my season. A lot of things going on, a lot of details I got to tie up.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you very much. 7th anniversary, married the greatest woman I ever met. So I'm a happy guy. But what I was thinking about
Stephanie.
is that last...
You guys married or living together?
We are married, brother. See that right there?
I'm sure.
Okay. All right. Well,
Smoking Jim's unbelievable.
one of the things that I want to talk about, and I know we're going to have a segment on them later on, but it's going to fall into my trivia this week. And I think last weekend we may have seen the last game that Marc-Andre Fleury plays in Pittsburgh. And the talk around the NHL right now is that the Penguins need help. They're down forwards, they're down defensemen, and the injury bug has bit them hard. And to maintain their place in the playoff race, it appears that they're going to have to trade Marc-Andre Fleury, and I think it's more so for Marc-Andre's. For his sake than it is for anybody else's, because Marc-Andre Fleury has given 10, almost 11 great years to the Penguins. He single-handedly won a Stanley Cup for them in 2009, and he's been the ultimate team player, ultimate Pittsburgher, great off the ice, on the ice. He's never been involved in any shenanigans off the ice or anything like that. And he deserves to be playing in the NHL right now. He is a starting goaltender. And the fact that he's taking his medicine now without pouting, without causing any rifts in the team, just speaks to the level of character that he has. So I was thinking about this, and I was like, well, this is the nature of professional sports. You've got a younger, talented goaltender that you're paying a lot less money to. You need to make room for salary cap reasons, and Marc-Andre, unfortunately, is going to be shown the exit door. Now, I believe that he'll be traded sometime before, I think, 4 o'clock next Wednesday.
Whoa.
And that's when the trade deadline is. So, I don't know if they're going to start him in the Winter Classic game that's being played Saturday at Heinz Field. But whoever heard of a better thing to do than in February when it's 65 degrees, play a hockey game outside? Great job.
I'm not a big fan of the outside game, and the weather is definitely against us.
Against us, yeah.
The refrigeration trucks, there's an ice.
Are they going to give them water skis, or are they going to be ice skating? I don't know. 65 degrees doesn't usually produce a lot of ice.
Well, I heard on the weather side that night with the wind chill factor it'll be 30 degrees.
That's enough to freeze them
keep
up.
it cold.
Okay, so that led me to look at the last, you think about when the Penguins have made Stanley Cup runs. Generally, what has pushed the Penguins to winning the Stanley Cup is trades that they made around the deadline. And I want to just kind of go over some names that you'll recognize. What I've got here is a list of the trades that the Penguins have made. And it went from current, November of 2016, and I could have gone all the way back to 1968 if I wanted to. So,
50 years of history, folks.
Yeah, and then
Longer than my research.
but I don't think we have that many minutes on the air. So, I'm going to take a look at some of the contributors to the Stanley Cup championship last year that were picked up via trades over the last year and a half or so. Justin Schultz, who happens to be one of their top defensemen. We got him on February 27th, 2016 for a third-round draft pick. Carl Hagelin, who played a big role in the Stanley Cup run last year. We acquired him from the Anaheim Ducks for Dave Perron and Adam Clendenning. We were able to pluck Trevor Daley off of the Chicago Blackhawks for Rob Scuderi for all rights and purposes. Rob Scuderi was washed up. Also, Nick Bonino, the Penguins got him as part of the trade for Brandon Sutter when they traded him to the Vancouver Canucks. Phil Kessel, somebody we got off of the Toronto Maple Leafs, the July of 2015. Traded him for 3 players and 2 draft picks. And Ian Cole, who we picked up off of the St. Louis Blues, who's been another solid defenseman. So, just looking back there, I'm looking at some of the guys
great
that
players.
did it. You think about a couple of years ago when the Penguins really they got swept by the Boston Bruins in the playoffs, and that was a year that everybody felt that the Penguins really had a strong enough team to win the Cup. And that was the year that we picked up Jussi Jokinen, Jerome McGillna, Douglas Murray, Brendan Morrow. And that was
They wanted to win the Cup that year.
They wanted to win the Cup that year. They made a bunch of trades. It did not pan out for them. So you look back also prior to that was when they picked up James Neal and Matt Niskanen, who now James Neal is in Nashville. Matt Niskanen is a defenseman for the first place Washington Capitals. And Alexei Kovalev, who the Penguins acquired from the Ottawa Senators for conditional draft picks. So, looking back, going back to the 2009 season, you think about some of the people that the Penguins picked up that year that helped them to win the Cup. Billy Guerin was one of them. Mm-hmm. We picked him up on March 4th of 2009. Eric Tangradi and Chris Kunitz we picked up on February 26th of 2009. Mm-hmm. Big contributors to the Stanley Cup that year. Also, the previous year before that, they picked up Hal Gill. Yeah. Hal Gill was an incredibly dominant force in the Stanley Cup run of 2009. And also, one of the team's all-time favorite players they picked up in February of 2008 was Pasquale Dupuis. They picked him up at the same time they picked up Marian Hossa. Mm-hmm. And Marian Hossa decided that he didn't want to play with the Penguins in 2008 when we lost the Stanley Cup final to the Red Wings. So he decided to sign with the Red Wings next year and promptly lost to the Penguins in 7 games. So karma, alive and well.
Got him.
This even dates back to actually all the way back to 2003. Wow. I found a little trade there that has some significance, and the reason why I think this has significance because this was the trade that brought Marc-Andre Fleury to the Pittsburgh Penguins. On June 21st, 2003, the Penguins traded to the Florida Panthers Michael Samuelson and a 2003 second-round pick to get the first pick in the draft of the 2003 draft, which they picked Marc-Andre Fleury with the first pick of that draft. And, it was a great pick, and it's unfortunate that he's going to go by the wayside. And then, going back a little bit further, I look back to the trades that were made that helped build the back-to-back Stanley Cup champions of the early 90s. And this was when Craig Patrick put together the team. And it started with December 11th, 1990. He traded Chris Dahlquist and Jim Johnson for Larry Murphy and Peter Taglianetti. Wow. How he managed pulling off that. Then in March 4th of 1991, he traded John Cullen, Jeff Parker, and Zarley Zalapsky to the Hartford Whalers for Ron Francis, Grant Jennings, and Ophie Samuelson. And Ophie was an integral part of back-to-back Cup champions. Another trade that he pulled off, he traded to the Philadelphia Flyers Brian Benning and Mark Recchi in a 1992 first-round draft pick. And who he got in return was Ken Reggett, Rick Tocchet, and Kjell Samuelson. And, Rick Tocchet is the guy that continued to play even though he had a broken jaw.
One of the toughest guys ever.
One of the toughest guys that ever played the game. They also brought in Paul Coffey, and they finally traded away Paul Coffey in 1992. And the point I was trying to make with all these talk of all these different trades is that, we can feel sorry for Marc-Andre Fleury. that he's not going to be playing in Pittsburgh very much longer. I think it should be a moment to be happy for Marc-Andre, because he's going to get a chance to go to somebody where he can play and be a starting goaltender, because in his heart of hearts, I'm sure that's what he wants to do, and that's what he's capable of doing. But whoever the Penguins may bring in for Marc-Andre could be the integral piece that they need to defend the Cup this spring. So
through your research, how many trades were made? How many times did they trade a goaltender? It sounds like none. And I think
there's a number of them. Because your friend here, they traded for Volkoon, they traded for Ken Reggett.
No, I said how many goaltenders did they trade away that played for the Penguins that the Penguins traded away? I don't think anybody.
Okay,
and that's a mistake.
And what's your point?
One, Murray just gave up 4 goals the other day. That's like trading away a great backup quarterback. You don't do that in the middle of the season.
Well, here's the thing. They've got young goaltender down in Wilkes-Barre that will be.
He ain't no Fleury.
Well, you know what? Fleury has not been the best of the 2 goaltenders this year. Look at his statistics. Look at the games that he's won and lost, and look what his goals against average.
I just look at his
ding,
ring.
Ding, ding.
Yeah, but it's probably, hidden by the glare of Murray's ring, because that one's newer.
Thanks, Chip. I appreciate that. With the genius addition of Trivial Pursuit.
I like that. I enjoyed that.
That was very enjoyable. Now we're going to go. We got a graphic that they'll throw it up as soon as I mention it one time on location. We were on location last night at the Fairway Grill. We'll be there the 3rd Monday of each month. Come on out. Great food, great drinks, great location. We're even talking about, the weather's almost warm enough we can do a show outside on a deck overlooking where they're hitting the golf balls.
Really?
Yeah, we're talking about doing it, Smoking Jim.
I must have left before you talked about that.
It was before you got there. We discuss things before you're there. Since people keep going, we're Smoking Jim. I go, I'm the early guy, he's the late guy. They go, oh, okay, thanks. And then you showed up. So we discussed that. Devin Shea was there on the cameras and the lighting, lit up the whole thing. Got a great show out of it. Can't wait to see it. And we had some guests. Couple didn't make it, couple did. The golf pro, Jeff Ellis, he'll be there next time. We'll try to get him. He's putting in 17-hour days on the course out there and fixing equipment. Plus, they do a lot of business on there and getting people out, and they're hitting the balls. They're getting buckets of balls. So we'll have to check that out. We had a first-time guest who's a trainer. Zach is his name. What a great guest. First time he ever was interviewed on TV, and he aced it. He did very well. Then we had another guy, JR. He's actually a physical trainer, therapist, works for AHN, and one of our friends just got operated on, Bill Chris Franciscus. He just had a knee replacement, and his therapist is JR. Wow. So he's working on him for that. He's coming along very nicely. He had a knee replacement December 1st. He's getting his motion back in his knee. He was able to crouch down, and he's just amazing with what he's able to do there because of the facilities at AHN. They're open all the time. There's leagues, there's memberships, there's workout rooms. They got state-of-the-art at AHN. Their facilities are just top class. Got to hear about it, check out the show. We'll be back there the 3rd week of March, and the next show coming up will be at Hollywood Lane. So we'll see you there, and we just keep plugging away. So thanks for watching our shows. And that's it for On Location. Now we're going to go to the commercial break, and we're going to come back talking the Penguins, who we heard they're tied up right now. We'll see if there's any other updates on that, and we'll be back shortly. Don't change that dial. Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for keeping it on Comcast 7 or Verizon 32. We appreciate you watching the show. We're fine-tuning all this software and features here with commercials. So just like a regular TV show, we're trying to put it out there for you and your entertainment. So now we're going to go talk a little Penguins. I heard it was 1-1.
1-1 still, no change in the score at the end of the first period. End of the first, so a little break in the action. Matt Murray's in goal tonight.
Yeah. He's been pretty regular in there, and
no, but it seems apparent right now if you're watching what Mike Sullivan's doing that Matt Murray's getting the bulk of the work. He's the one that's performed the best of the two, and it comes down to just straight economics and this happens across the board in professional sports. Marc-Andre is getting paid $5.7 million to be a backup goaltender, and
that can only last so long.
They can only last so long, and if they don't do something with him before the end of the season, then they're going to have to leave him unprotected, and they're going to lose him in the expansion draft. So
that could happen with Las Vegas. Then.
So here's what they have to do: is they have to do what's best for the franchise. It may not be the most popular thing that you could do. I mean, I've always loved Marc-Andre Fleury. I don't have anything bad to say about him. It just, pro sports is a numbers game. There's always some guy younger, faster, stronger, and ultimately better that could come up and take your job. I mean, that's just the nature of professional sports.
I have one thing to say. He's in such an awkward position, you would never know it. He's well-liked in the locker room. They're big fans of the local players, love him. He's well-respected.
And I think, to be honest with you, as much as his teammates would hate to see him go, they want to see Marc-Andre be happy. And, and I'm not going to say anything negative about him. I just hope he gets what he wants. I mean, because he's been a class act here. He couldn't have handled the situation any better than he has.
No, and he can't help that during the Stanley Cup he was concussed.
Well,
that was a terrible thing. He got concussed.
How many times have you seen that happen in professional sports? We can go all the way back to Wally Pipp. Remember that? Wally Pipp missed a day's game, and then Lou Gehrig didn't miss a day for 14 years.
Yeah.
So it's happened, and
it'll happen again.
And it'll happen again. But that's just that's why as hard as it may be for some people, try not to get emotionally attached to the athletes. That's why I cheer for my team. I cheer for the Steelers. I cheer for the Pirates, the Penguins. I'm
all about black and gold.
Right, but the players are going to come and go. Because when we grew up, Al in the 70s, and we had the
Since
dynasty.
I'm the oldest on the panel here.
Yeah, we had the dynasty of the Steelers, and we thought that team was going to live forever, and they were just going to win championship after championship. And players got old, and they had to retire, and they got other people moved
Chuck
in.
Noll fell in love with those older players and kept them a little bit too long.
And he learned a lesson.
Yeah.
He learned a lesson. And
even
then,
he did.
And even he finally got the message when he saw that the way professional athletes were gravitating, his coaching method wasn't going to work with the new generation of players and free agency. So, Chuck got out when it was time for him to get out.
Yeah, and we've had a successful career with our other coaches, Cowher and now Mike Tomlin. So,
3 coaches in 48 years, and you look at the success of the team in that period of time, it just speaks for itself.
I just go before 1969, how Smoking Jim discovered a rumor of a curse. Can't prove a thing, but it was sort of like Art Rooney hired all these people that were drunks and friends of his, and they played a tough football game. They just couldn't win it.
Ernie Staudner and Bobby Lane used to drink up in Brentwood. Right from the bar, down to Pitt Stadium.
They weren't the only ones. They were the biggest stars, but there were many others with them.
Oh yeah.
And even the after-hours clubs in downtown Pittsburgh, they frequented those pretty
well.
well.
And the athletes are doing the same thing now that they did then. The only thing they didn't have then, they didn't have smartphones, and people couldn't live stream all your foolishness. Because now, when you act like a fool,
you're caught.
It goes viral within minutes, and other people did stuff that was far worse that we've never seen or heard about because,
Yeah, we're going to be wrapping the show up shortly. I wanted to mention that there is Golden Gloves boxing each week. I think they'll be fighting at the Royal Place this weekend for Golden Gloves. They had some last weekend up at Three Lakes. So up there where Smoking Jim's at. He probably snuck in the door there.
So who's the group of fighters that went to Havana to fight?
It wasn't any. It's some local guys, but it wasn't in a particular gym or anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bunch of the local
Because
kids went.
the Cubans won seven bouts to 4 last July when they fought on the Clemente Bridge, and
Smoking Jim announced it. It was a nightmare.
We're looking to get some payback this time, right?
Just going over there to get some experience. Yeah.
Just to have
You
fun.
don't want to fight the real Cubans. Just want to fight somebody from Cuba.
You know what? The Cubans have a history of having some of the toughest guys in the boxing ring.
That's all they do. They don't go to school. They just box.
Or
That's what I like.
or
You
they
should have went
they
there.
learn how to play baseball and swim to Miami.
That's it.
Yeah, there's some. Well, we can't help it how some other countries believe in this stuff and forget about the education like Smoking Jim does. So, but hey, they're on the same team. It just happens. But yeah, they left for Cuba, and
We're all black.
You know what? Now that we're speaking about Cuban boxers, and I know Jim's a boxing historian, and Alan as well. But I would have loved to have seen, when I was a younger man, I would have loved to have seen Teofilo Stevenson and Muhammad Ali fight in their primes.
oh
Oh my goodness.
yes,
I mean, that would have been, I think, the fight
ultimate.
of the
Maybe
century.
the greatest knockout artist ever. That right hand Stevenson had was in.
He
He'd
just
have
put people to sleep.
He'd have been champ for years and years and years.
Yeah,
You know what, though?
different times.
If anybody could have developed a game plan to beat him, it would have been Muhammad Ali when he was a young man, because when he fought George Frazier, okay, I didn't
Frazier.
think that he had a chance. George Foreman, George Foreman, when he fought George Foreman, George Foreman was destroying everybody. And then he got out there and he played the rope-a-dope game
Thriller.
on him.
The Thriller in Manila.
all he had, and I
that
agree,
was- that was-
and I agree with you. No, that was the biggest upset in sports history when he beat George Foreman. But all he had something. He had an advantage that nobody else had in the history of sports. He had Allah.
what does that even mean with that?
Okay.
They controlled him and everything. He ended up breaking away from him. So.
But
was another story there.
But one of the
Yeah.
greatest boxers, heavyweight boxers of all time, without question, was Teofilo Stevenson.
How about when he was Cassius Clay?
Yeah. Well, my favorite.
What did he have on his side then?
My favorite.
What did he have on his side then? I still ask the question. What did Cassius Clay
My favorite.
have on his side?
My favorite heavyweight boxer of all time, other than Rocky Marciano,
Of course.
who was the greatest, was Joe Louis. He was credit to his race.
Well, you're named after him.
No, Joe Louis was the real deal. There was no
Smoking Joe,
question
aren't you?
about that.
That's what people tell me. Smoking Joe. I said it goes back to Joe Louis, but Smoking Jim is his name. And Smoking Joe Frazier. Well, we got a little off the reservation on this.
Yeah, you know.
Hope you enjoyed the show. We like bringing up lots of sports. Hope you enjoyed it. Catch us next Tuesday night. We'll be here 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock talking sports. Who knows when Smoking Jim will bring up the race card or the anti-race card or the white
Well,
cornerback.
I think I know the race he's going to bring up next week, the Daytona 500.
Hey Chip, you're right on the edge of that. I knew it was at the top of his mind. He's still wearing that Bulls hat, which I have no idea why he's a Chicago Bulls man on our show. And the Chicago Cubs did win the World Series,
My team.
unlike you predicted, the Pittsburgh Pirates. And the show is over. I'm Al Levine, the talking machine, and stay Joey strong.
That's what I get.